Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. The brightest minds don't always shine. Sometimes they dim themselves to see the dark more clearly. In a world obsessed with being seen, Sigma males play an entirely different game. They win by vanishing. While everyone else scrambles for attention like it's currency, the Sigma quietly collects something far more valuable: leverage. Psychologists have noted that humans are biologically wired to notice loud, expressive behavior, the extroverted, animated personalities that fill every space with their noise. But what happens when a man moves so subtly that even the algorithm of your attention can't track him? That's the Sigma's genius. He doesn't hide behind walls, he hides in plain sight. He blends into crowds, yet he never belongs to them. He's the man you've met 3 times but still can't quite read. The one who never posts online, yet somehow knows everything. It's not luck, it's strategy. He's perfected the art of being forgettable on the surface and unforgettable beneath it. And while others are out there shouting their identities like sales pitches, he's the calm guy in the corner, sipping his coffee, quietly deleting his digital footprints, and probably laughing inside because you'll never realize he's the one running the game you think you're winning. This is how Sigma males hide in plain sight. Number 1, they mask dominance under humility. A Sigma male's power is never loud. It's quiet, composed, and unnervingly stable. While most men equate dominance with volume or physical posturing, a Sigma understands that true authority doesn't need to shout. It only needs to be felt. He's the man who lets others think they're leading while he's quietly steering the outcome. His humility isn't weakness. It's a calculated form of control. He doesn't interrupt others to prove his intelligence. He lets them talk, lets them feel smart, and in doing so, learns everything he needs. That calm, respectful silence is not submission. It's information gathering. The Sigma knows that people drop their guards around humility. They feel safer, more powerful, even superior. And that's exactly when he observes their real nature. He walks through rooms where egos clash like thunder, yet he never competes for dominance. Why would he? Competing means revealing your position, your energy, and your strategy. Instead, he stands aside, quietly understanding that every man fighting for the crown is already trapped in the game. He's not there to win the crowd. He's there to study the system. Humility is his camouflage. It keeps him underestimated, which is his favorite position. When people think he's just another calm, harmless guy, they stop watching him closely. That's when he moves with surgical precision, making decisions that tilt the balance in his favor without anyone realizing who pulled the strings. What makes him truly dangerous is that his power doesn't need recognition. He doesn't crave praise or validation. The less attention he gets, the more efficiently he operates. He knows the loudest man in the room is often the weakest one, needing to prove he exists. The Sigma, on the other hand, already knows he does. That quiet humility others mistake for passivity. It's actually the stillness before he reshapes everything around him, without ever raising his voice. Number 2, they live behind purpose, not personality. A Sigma male doesn't build his life around how he looks to others. He builds it around what he's here to do. While most people are busy constructing identities, chasing labels, or performing versions of themselves to fit into social molds, the Sigma quietly rejects all of it. He isn't trying to be liked, admired, or even understood. He's focused on something far bigger, his mission. That's what makes him hard to read. He doesn't give away emotional cues that tell people who he is because he doesn't operate from ego. When he walks into a room, he isn't calculating how he appears. He's assessing what needs to be done. He's not there to impress. He's there to execute. This is why many misinterpret him as detached or mysterious. They can't place him inside a personality box. He's not performing a role. He's following an internal compass. Everything he does is rooted in function, not flair. His friendships, his choices, his silence, all of it serves a deeper direction. And when that direction shifts, he doesn't hesitate to walk away from people, titles, or environments that no longer align. To him, loyalty to purpose is stronger than loyalty to image. That's why he can rebuild himself without hesitation, because he never tied his worth to an identity in the first place. People often chase personality because it's easier than building purpose. But the Sigma sees identity as a costume, useful for certain settings, but never the core of who he is. His real essence lives in what he creates, not what he projects. It's why he can move between worlds, introverted or extroverted, leader or lone wolf, without losing himself. His identity isn't fixed, it's fluid, molded by whatever his mission demands. While others seek attention to feel alive, the Sigma finds life in progress, discipline, and quiet fulfillment. He doesn't live to be seen, he lives to matter. And that's what makes him impossible to define, and even harder to forget. Number 3, they're fluent in the art of minimal presence. A Sigma male has mastered how to exist without demanding attention. He doesn't enter a space to dominate it. He simply flows through it, absorbing everything while revealing almost nothing. His presence is quiet but not weak, subtle but not small. He's the kind of person who doesn't need to raise his voice to be noticed. People sense him, even if they can't explain why. That's the paradox of his minimal presence. It's invisible and magnetic at the same time. He's deliberate about the energy he gives off. Most people waste presence trying to prove their worth. They speak too much, move too loudly, and end up diluting their impact. The Sigma does the opposite. He conserves energy, choosing words that matter, gestures that mean something, and silences that do more talking than noise ever could. He doesn't rush to fill space. He lets space adjust to him. This restraint gives him power. When someone doesn't crave validation, people start offering it anyway, without realizing it. That's the strange thing about the Sigma's presence. It doesn't chase attention, it attracts curiosity. The less he tries to be noticed, the more people want to understand him. His mystery grows naturally, not by design, but by self-control. He's also intentional about when to appear and when to vanish. He knows presence is like currency. Too much circulation and it loses value. That's why he withdraws often, returning only when it counts. This rhythm makes every reappearance feel significant, like a rare event. His minimalism extends beyond behavior. It's a mindset. He doesn't need to occupy every conversation or conquer every room to feel significant. He knows real influence happens in silence, not in spectacle. And when he finally does speak or act, it cuts through the noise like truth in a world of static. The Sigma's presence may be minimal, but its impact is anything but. It lingers, echoes, and quietly reminds everyone that true power never needs to announce itself. It just exists. Number 4, they speak just enough to be underestimated. A Sigma male understands the hidden economy of words. The fewer he spends, the more value each one holds. While others rush to explain, defend, or impress, he stays quiet long enough to let people expose their own thoughts, motives, and weaknesses. His silence isn't shyness, it's strategy. He knows that in every conversation, the one who speaks less learns more. He doesn't talk to fill the air or prove intelligence. He talks when it matters, when a sentence can shift perception or redirect power. Every word he chooses is intentional, measured, and layered with purpose. People often misread this restraint as lack of confidence, and that's exactly what he wants. Being underestimated is his camouflage. When others assume he's detached or disinterested, they let their guard down. That's when he gathers insight quietly, piece by piece, until he knows exactly how to move. His calm tone also disarms people. While loud personalities use energy to dominate a room, the Sigma uses calmness to control it. The contrast between his quiet voice and his sharp awareness creates a subtle tension. People start talking more, revealing things they wouldn't normally share just to fill his silence. Without saying much, he becomes the one who knows the most. He's not afraid of pauses or uncomfortable silences either. He uses them. Those few seconds of stillness make others fidget, rethink, and over-explain. And while they scramble to fill the void, he remains grounded, centered, and in charge. This is how he leads without appearing dominant, by mastering the psychology of quiet control. He knows the loudest person rarely has real influence. True power is built in the spaces between words. The Sigma's silence doesn't mean absence, it means precision. And in a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, that silence becomes the most commanding voice in the room. Number 5, they build myths instead of reputations. A Sigma male doesn't waste his energy trying to manage how people see him. He understands that the moment you start defending your image, you've already lost control of it. So instead of polishing a reputation like most people do, he builds something far more powerful, a myth. While reputations are maintained by effort, myths are sustained by mystery. He doesn't post every move, brag about his plans, or explain his decisions. He simply acts quietly, effectively, and without commentary. That silence breeds curiosity. People start talking, guessing, and speculating. Some will call him cold, others will call him brilliant, and some will label him dangerous. But the Sigma knows the truth. The less people know, the more they create. And those inventions, those exaggerated stories, are better protection than any explanation he could ever give. A reputation can be attacked, debated, or destroyed. A myth can't. A myth lives in people's imaginations, and imagination is untouchable. That's why the Sigma doesn't correct rumors or defend his choices. He knows the confusion works in his favor. The uncertainty keeps him untouchable, unpredictable, and always one step ahead. What makes this even more fascinating is that he doesn't build myths on purpose. It happens naturally because of how he moves, quiet but deliberate, detached but effective. People see the results of his actions but never understand his methods, so they fill the blanks with stories. Over time, those stories become legends. While others chase visibility, the Sigma chases results. And when he disappears after achieving something, it only deepens the aura around him. People remember him not for what he said, but for what couldn't be explained about him. That's the genius of the Sigma's approach. He never needs to prove who he is. He lets the world write its own narrative, and that narrative becomes his shield. The myth protects him and defines him long after he's gone. Number 6, they adapt accents, gestures, and tone to any crowd. A Sigma male is fluent in social translation. He knows how to adjust his tone, rhythm, and even his body language to match the energy of any environment. This isn't manipulation, it's survival through observation. He's learned that blending in gives him freedom. By mirroring the cadence and behavior of whoever he's around, he becomes part of the background, a shapeshifter who absorbs context without ever losing himself. He can flow through corporate rooms, street corners, or intellectual circles with equal ease. Around dominant personalities, he softens his presence, calm, respectful, unthreatening. Around quiet ones, he loosens up just enough to be approachable. With outsiders, he reflects understanding, making them feel seen. This chameleon-like adaptability keeps him off everyone's radar because he never appears out of place. People rarely question someone who feels familiar. Yet what makes him different from fake personalities is intention. He doesn't change to be accepted. He adapts to observe undetected. His flexibility is a form of intelligence, a quiet reading of human behavior that most overlook. He studies not just words, but micro-signals, tone shifts, posture, emotional tempo. By syncing subtly with his surroundings, he dissolves into them, collecting insights others can't even perceive. This is why people often describe him as easy to talk to or strangely comfortable to be around. They don't realize it's because he mirrors their unspoken patterns. It's not performance, it's mastery. The Sigma's goal is to blend so perfectly that no one remembers him as an intruder. He becomes part of the natural rhythm of the space. But behind that effortless adaptability lies his secret power, invisibility. When you can speak every social dialect, you never look foreign. You move everywhere, unnoticed, uninvolved, but fully aware. And that's what makes the Sigma male untouchable. He's not just in the room, he is the room, reflected back at itself. Number 7, they disguise their intelligence as curiosity. A Sigma male never flaunts how much he knows. He understands that intelligence becomes a weapon only when it's concealed. So instead of trying to prove his mind, he disguises it behind curiosity, quiet, focused, and surgical. While others speak to impress, he asks questions that disarm. His curiosity feels harmless, but every question is a probe, extracting information, testing limits, and mapping the landscape of someone's mind without them realizing it. He's mastered the skill of strategic listening. He lets others talk, not out of politeness, but precision. Every story, every slip of emotion, every unnecessary detail tells him something useful. And the beauty of it is, no one suspects him. People love talking about themselves, and the Sigma lets them. In doing so, they reveal their values, fears, and weaknesses while he stays silent, decoding patterns. His quiet is his camouflage. He rarely debates or argues to prove a point. He already knows what he knows. He doesn't need validation. Instead, he guides people with questions that lead them to expose their thinking. Most walk away feeling understood, not realizing they've just handed him a full psychological profile. His curiosity opens doors that arrogance would slam shut. The Sigma's intelligence doesn't draw attention, it draws truth. That's what makes him so unpredictable. People underestimate him because he never shows off. In fact, he often plays slightly naive, giving others the illusion of superiority. But beneath that calm interest is a mind quietly assembling every detail into a clear picture. By the time others realize how sharp he truly is, it's too late. He already knows their strategy, their strengths, and how to move through them. His intelligence works best when unseen, and that's the brilliance of his disguise. Curiosity isn't just how he learns, it's how he conquers without ever appearing like he's trying to. Number 8, they let others believe they're passive. While they're mapping the room, a Sigma male has perfected the art of appearing disengaged while absorbing everything. To the untrained eye, he might look quiet, neutral, or even uninterested. But behind that stillness, his mind is running like a radar, scanning energy, reading behavior, and decoding the invisible hierarchy that most people miss. He's not just present, he's collecting. His silence isn't withdrawal, it's reconnaissance. While others perform to be noticed, he studies how the room moves. He watches who talks the most but says the least, who defers to whom, who interrupts, who looks for approval, and who quietly holds real power. Every gesture, tone shift, and micro-expression becomes data. By the time most people are halfway through their introductions, he already knows who's insecure, who's dominant, and who's pretending. He doesn't compete for attention because attention blinds. People so busy trying to be impressive never realize they're revealing their strategy. The Sigma uses that chaos to his advantage. He positions himself as neutral, agreeable, even indifferent, so no one feels threatened. They drop their guard around him, thinking he's just a background presence. And that's when he gathers the truth. This is how he gains influence without force. He knows power doesn't always sit in titles or volume. It hides in subtleties. And by mapping those dynamics quietly, he can navigate any environment with surgical precision. He knows who to align with, who to avoid, and when to speak to create maximum impact. The beauty of his passivity is that it's deliberate. He doesn't need to dominate every space, he only needs to understand it. His stillness is his control, and by the time everyone else realizes he's been observing, it's too late. He already knows how the entire system operates, and more importantly, how to move through it unseen, but in charge. Number 9, they use normalcy as camouflage. A Sigma male understands a truth most people overlook. Standing out makes you a target, but blending in gives you freedom. He's not interested in being the loudest or the flashiest. He's interested in being effective, so he wears normalcy like armor. The same casual clothes, the same phone, the same everyday tone. Nothing about him screams for attention. To the world, he's just another ordinary face moving through the crowd. That's exactly how he wants it. His ordinariness is a disguise, not an accident. He knows that modern society hunts difference. It wants to categorize, label, and dissect anyone who looks or acts too unique. So, he lets the world underestimate him. By appearing predictable, he gains invisibility. No one suspects the quiet guy in plain clothes is the one who's 10 steps ahead. His camouflage gives him space to move, to observe, and to operate without interruption. It's not that he lacks confidence or style. He simply refuses to perform for attention. He doesn't need validation through fashion, trends, or noise. His confidence is internal, so his outer image becomes irrelevant. And because he doesn't seek to impress, he ends up being the one person people can't read. They assume he's simple, maybe even boring, until his actions expose a depth they never saw coming. This camouflage also gives him psychological power. When people think you're average, they stop watching closely. They reveal things, relax their guard, and overlook you. That's when the Sigma gathers information and makes moves no one notices until the outcome is undeniable. His strength lies in being unseen. He lets others chase spotlights while he builds in shadows. Every simple outfit, every calm expression, every normal gesture is part of his quiet architecture of control. The Sigma doesn't need to be recognized to be powerful. He just needs to stay unnoticed long enough to reshape the game without anyone realizing he was ever there. Number 10, they act unthreatened in every environment. A Sigma male carries a calm that unsettles people. In a world full of men puffing their chests and competing for dominance, his composure feels unnatural, even intimidating. Most men posture to signal power, but the Sigma doesn't need to. His confidence doesn't live in his body language or his voice. It lives in his silence. He's learned that true control isn't about appearing powerful. It's about being unmoved when others try to provoke you. Whether he's around authority, aggression, or manipulation, his energy stays level. He doesn't mirror hostility or try to prove himself. He simply observes, letting others reveal their insecurities through their noise. That calmness acts like a mirror. It reflects other people's chaos back at them. When a manipulative person can't provoke a reaction, they lose power. When an aggressive person can't intimidate, they lose control. And when everyone else is trying to win attention, the Sigma's quiet confidence steals it effortlessly. This ability to stay unthreatened isn't arrogance, it's discipline. He's trained himself to detach from ego battles. He knows that reacting gives people a handle to grab onto, a way to steer him emotionally. So he gives them nothing. His stillness becomes psychological armor. It tells the room, "You can't touch me no matter what you do." What's terrifying to others is that his calm feels like indifference, and indifference is impossible to manipulate. The Sigma doesn't get pulled into petty competitions or emotional traps. He's comfortable in his own space, even in hostile ones, because he knows that real dominance comes from non-reactivity. When everyone else is trying to prove they're dangerous, the Sigma proves it by staying still. That unshakable composure is his quiet warning, not through words, but through energy. It's the kind of calm that predators mistake for weakness, right before they realize it's something far more dangerous: control. Number 11. They mirror just enough humanity to pass social detection. A Sigma. Male understands human emotion the way a coder understands software, deeply, but without getting entangled in it. He doesn't reject empathy. He studies it. He observes how people express it, how they crave it, and how it controls them. Then he uses that knowledge strategically. He can show warmth, concern, or understanding when needed, just enough to seem relatable. But beneath that surface, he remains detached and calculating. His empathy is selective, not reactive. He knows that in social settings, emotion is currency. Too little, and you seem cold. Too much, and you lose control. So he finds the perfect middle ground, a subtle reflection of what others need to see. He nods, he listens, he mirrors emotion like a psychological echo. It feels genuine to others because it is, just not in the way they think. He's not faking compassion, he's managing it. He understands that to move through human environments without resistance, he must speak the emotional language fluently, even if he never truly believes in it. This is how he blends in. People sense he's emotionally aware, but they can't quite connect with him. There's always a faint distance, a quiet wall that keeps him untouched by the noise of others' feelings. That emotional detachment isn't a flaw, it's a filter. It protects his focus and energy from being drained by drama, manipulation, or neediness. Because he doesn't bond easily, he never becomes emotionally dependent. He values connection, but only when it's purposeful, balanced, and honest. Otherwise, he mirrors what's needed and moves on. To most, he seems kind yet mysterious, open yet unreachable, and that's his power. He passes every emotional radar check while staying completely free inside. The world thinks he's part of its emotional rhythm, but in truth, he's just playing the right notes to stay invisible, while keeping his peace intact. Number 12. They disappear before anyone notices their pattern. A Sigma male understands one critical rule of power. Predictability is vulnerability. The moment people can define you, they can anticipate you. And once they can anticipate you, they can control you. That's why he never allows anyone to fully figure him out. Just when others start to notice his rhythm, his routines, or his emotional wavelength, he quietly disappears. No announcement, no drama, just silence. It's his reset button, his way of staying unreadable in a world obsessed with patterns. He moves through life like a ghost with perfect timing. Friends, colleagues, even lovers might start to think they understand him. His habits, his moods, his triggers. But before that comfort solidifies, he fades, not to run away, but to recalibrate. His withdrawal isn't avoidance, it's strategic disappearance. He knows that people are addicted to consistency, and when he breaks that expectation, he becomes unpredictable again, impossible to map or manipulate. His vanishing act also protects his mind. When a place, group, or person begins to expect him to act a certain way, it subtly traps him in identity. The Sigma refuses that. He'd rather walk away than be defined. That's why he leaves without notice. He prefers mystery over maintenance. The absence becomes his message. You'll never hold me in one frame. This unpredictability keeps his energy sharp. It allows him to re-emerge stronger, more evolved, and ahead of those still trying to understand the version of him that no longer exists. It's not detachment for its own sake. It's evolution in motion. To the outside world, it looks like he's inconsistent. But to him, it's control, the ultimate freedom. By disappearing before the world memorizes his pattern, he remains untraceable, uncontained, and untouchable. And that's exactly how he keeps his power, by making sure no one ever truly knows which version of him they're dealing with, or when he'll return. Conclusion. In a world obsessed with attention, the Sigma male wins by mastering invisibility. He doesn't fight to be seen. He learns to disappear in plain sight, and that's his greatest weapon. While others burn themselves out chasing validation, the Sigma refines his silence, his restraint, and his understanding of human nature into an art form. His power lies not in confrontation, but in control. Not the loud kind that shakes rooms, but the subtle kind that rewires them from within. Every movement he makes is deliberate. Every silence he holds is a strategy. He doesn't play by the world's rules because he's already learned that true dominance doesn't need recognition. It needs precision. He's not trying to lead crowds or impress anyone. He's mapping systems, reading energy, and staying 2 steps ahead while everyone else is lost in noise. That's why he's impossible to predict and even harder to control. The Sigma male hides in plain sight, not because he's afraid of being known, but because he understands that once people define you, they can limit you. His mystery isn't an act, it's self-preservation. His detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. He doesn't need the world's spotlight because he is the storm behind the calm, the unseen force that shifts outcomes without ever being credited. And that's what makes him dangerous, not his strength, but his ability to wield it silently. If this breakdown of the Sigma male mindset made you think deeper, hit that subscribe button and join a community that sees beyond surface-level psychology. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with someone who needs to understand the power of moving unseen. Because while the world's busy looking for noise, the Sigma male is out there, mastering silence.